I think a lot of those type of people who can't seem to get rid of their anger in other ways, I think it's because they're lonely. And I think you're right about a lot about loneliness. But do you still have that sense? I mean, you grew up probably lonely.
I understand needing to be a part of something. I mean, that aspect of it, I really do. They're clearly lost. And as much as I, despise and really would be willing to die for racism, to fight racism, because I feel that if you don't have something in your life you're willing to die for, you don't really have anything, to fight for.
So feeling that wanting to be a part of something is.
But I do. As much as I despise that, I understand that need.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with that. Fortunately, I realized I would have never been any help to any gang because I was far too self-centered, and I didn't think that, collectively I didn't think the cause was good enough to really risk everything I had just for someone else's probably vision.
So your self-centeredness actually helped your own big picture, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
It's kind of weird.
Because there was
funny.
Where I grew up, there was cholo gangs, there was punk rock gangs, there was, but I do, that sense of belonging, and I do feel sorry. I do have a soft spot that it's like that's all they're really doing. God, I wish there was a way of reaching them. That could bypass this.
Yeah.
Because they probably grew up in a really fucked up situation. They obviously don't like who they are, who they've become. But this is temporarily, I had outlaw gangs. In 35 years old, I thought I wanted to be 35 years old. I was 12 years sober. I thought, outlaw bike club, maybe,
Really? Wow, funny,
and it was like, wait a minute.
Right.
I would have to go against everything that I know is right today.
Wow.
That's not going to work, But there was that certain allure, attraction, of like power and glamour and, control.
So writing Crown of Thorns, is that where you have that sort of empathy for these people, right? You're in this situation. I get it because I've been there. I've worn that crown of thorns. Mm-hmm. That's why you write that?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And I think people need to know that you've been there, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, and maybe just their neighbor, too. Just anybody. They need to know that. And maybe that you've been there and you've battled through it. Because at some point in time, you had to go, this is not the right way to live. At age 35.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With a 7-year-old son.
Yeah. Wanting to get on a Harley and, with a pack of guys and go, bust heads. I mean, come on. Right?
So that's why you box now.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And now I get to bust heads, but I get to do it,
in a big bag.
Yeah.
Hey, 2 more songs off that record, if I can ask you, is Untitled. Mm-hmm. I think that's a lot about loneliness, too. But maybe trying to depend on God, that's why I really wrote on that. Is that...
that and just, the value of friends and family, true friends, true family. Like, I mean, it's all about quality, not quantity, and I think I would introduce it as if you don't have friends or family, I'm afraid you don't have
Wow.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid you don't have anything if you don't have that.
Interesting song I thought was When the Angels Sing.
Mm-hmm. That was, I wrote that when my grandmother died. And, just the life and death and everything in between.
Yeah. Aren't you talking to God in that song rather than your grandma? I mean, writing it about her, but asking God, why, who am I to question you when it all comes down?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a plan. I believe there's a plan, and you have to sometimes believe that that's, her time had come. She was 88. She lived a long life. Yeah.
Didn't you do you should have done a preamble from Hee Haw of If It Weren't for Bad Luck, I'd Have No Luck at All. When you write bad luck. Mm-hmm. I assume you saw Hee Haw when you were a kid too, right? If you're a TV guy, right? Mm-hmm. But right there is empathy in the big realm. It's like, you know what? Just being so pessimistic and feeling stuck in it. That's maybe the shame of it all, isn't it, when you write that?
Well, it was kind of like, sometimes I like to write about, it's more of an observation of other people, I think, and but it's a perfect example of trying to run your life on self-propulsion only.
Oh, okay. What you were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, then I say you're lucky to get through it then, right?
Definitely.
Even the bad luck brought you through it.
That's right.
Cold Feelings is the other song off of Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell.
Well, those, I went through a period where I lost like 6 friends in 4 years, I think, and sober, and just like, various ways of death, and, but it was like, wow, this is gnarly. Like, is this what I'm looking at? And it just was one of those things where it just all happened kind of all at once.
Did you start doing yoga back then? I mean, when I read lines like trying to separate my mind and my body, or my body and my mind is more how,
No, I was meditating back then.
Which I think yoga is kind of that.
Which is completely lacking from my life right now. But I know when I'm doing that, I'm much more grounded, So, yeah, I mean...
Well, it's easy to get out of just sort of step away from things because you get busy with so many other things, and all of a sudden you have to go, meditation, yoga, where am I?
Yeah, I mean, in 94, 95, it was that struggle between the Peep Show and St. John's Church in New York City when I was living in New York.
Okay.
And now it's the battle between, the cashmere and the clothing and,
right.
and meditation.
Yeah.
Right, it's like that balance. It's a constant struggle and seeking balance for me.
Yeah. So you reach for the sky. That would be a segue about living for today and trying to understand things. So I'm just segueing.
Living in the moment, and not thinking about the future or the past.
But the day may come when you got nothing to lose. I think that's almost when we start living, isn't it? When we figure out this is all we have is right now.
Right now, it's 6:25. There's a band doing sound check.
Yeah.
I'm doing an interview. My wife is surfing or something. My kids are doing this. The band is doing this.
Yeah, right.
And you just kind of got to let it all be.
And I'll take a song I take a line out of the song "Live Before You Die," which is kind of dovetails for me for that. But leave your troubles and your worries far behind. Mm-hmm. So far behind, because that's the way we can live for today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, powerful song.
Thanks.
Yeah, and in these two, you're writing for yourself to remind yourself.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more song off of that record is "Angel's Wings." Back into the. I've triumphed in the face of adversity, and I've became the man I never thought I'd be. Wow, love that. Mm-hmm. That's a good place, right?
And tired of figuring out things on my own. But
yeah, right.
That's when you got to start getting it from outside sources.
Hey, when Bruce Springsteen lays his my favorite album of the year, does that at the time give you like, okay, I've made it, I've arrived? What does it do for you?
It's definitely a milestone for sure. Yeah. I mean, we still have never been on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, or because we don't want to pay the money.
Don't even get me going.
People need to know that. But what was great about Springsteen is 20 years later, it's still happening. Him, wanting to do the encore with the Mike Ness band, or asking me to show up to the LA show and do one of my songs. And then it's really funny because the night before I had learned one of his songs, The Rising.
Oh yeah, what a great song.
And I had to we practiced Bad Luck 6 times, and then we were done. And it's like, man, it wasn't enough that we were doing one of my songs. If I come up to L.A. and I want to do 2 songs, and one of them I want to be yours. So I had to pull. My advocate was Little Steven, and I just pulled him aside. I go, hey, bro, man, I learned this song. It's my favorite song. oh yeah, man, hey Bruce, you know, and it was like great. That was a milestone. Another one.
So growing up, I can say now, and I say honestly, I don't think I appreciated Born to Run when it came out. Mm-hmm. Did you?
No, I didn't know about it.
Yeah,
but there was so much I didn't know about.
Right.
You know, I mean, I didn't even know who Iggy Pop was till, you know, the 80s. You know, I was hip to a lot of stuff.
Right.
But no one's hip to everything.
Right. You write Prison Bound way back in '88 when you're just trying to say to people, don't waste your life.
Yeah.
Because I may never know another way.
'88, I was 3 years clean, and I was grateful that I didn't go down the road that some of my friends had. You know.
Did you become grateful when you became clean and sober pretty quickly, or did it take?
It took about a year, really. I mean, I had tastes of it, but you know, the first year you're just, you know, the chemicals are just coming out of your body, and you know, I mean,
for a year.
Important to be grateful and realize where I could be. You know, if I was still alive. Another show I loved, Lock Up, you know.
Yeah.
I watch all those things because it's like kind of makes me realize, like, wow, I have come a long way.
What was the first song that you wrote? I'm just going to say I think it might have been something like No Pain, No Gain when you understand life's a struggle and you start appreciating it. But I wondered if that was a big, certainly that's 3 years later, right? Mm-hmm. But that's a big turning point in your life. But was there a song that was the turning point when you kind of went, wow, this is really how I am going to live?
Probably that was probably one of them. Yeah, I would think that would be definitely one that would define that period. Yeah.
Do you think we're missing struggle in the world today? That people don't really understand what struggle is?
Yeah, because people just get caught up in their careers and they gauge success by how much they make, where they're living, what kind of car they're driving, where they are in their business or whatever.
Wow.
And unfortunately that doesn't make you whole.
Yeah.
That's only your economic. That's only one facet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me take my lyric backhoe and pull it out of I Want What I Want. The best things in life aren't things.
Yeah.
Oh, simple words, but so right in the heart of the matter. What you're just talking about, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we're still there. You decided to cover "Ring of Fire," which is really sort of an old gospel song, isn't it? Or did Johnny Cash?
No, June wrote it.
June Carter Cash
with
wrote
another
it?
writer. To me, it's just a love song, you know. But at the time, yeah, people were like, "What? You're going to cover a Johnny Cash song?" Yeah. Why? Because I want to.
But it's almost like Johnny Cash had to become cool again because he was. When I was growing up, Johnny Cash wasn't cool because he was just. And I'll say another cool guy that I like is Merle Haggard or Marty Robbins, guys that my parents listened to that I went, that's stupid. That's not the Beatles. That's not, for me, Journey and Boston. And but yet you knew there was authenticity there from the get-go, didn't you?
Sure. I mean, you know, all that American music going back to the 20s, there's a certain amount of honesty and heartfeltness of that music, whether it's blues or country or... you know, they're writing, it's working class, they're writing about working to lower class issues.
Yeah.
And therefore it's very honest and authentic.
Right.
That's what I appreciate about that American roots music.
Is Ball and Chain a prayer?
Yes.
Full on, yeah.
Full on prayer, yeah.
And not necessarily for whatever it is that's holding you back, because you're begging for help in that song, aren't you? I mean, just...
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just... Yeah, I got this. Let me hold on to it. I love it. Thank you. Let me hold on to it. Yeah. Thank you for it.
But knowing full well you got to kind of change, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm lonely and I'm tired and I can't take take any more pain. I think too many times I said I'm lonely and I'm tired, and I say the second one, but I still don't want to admit to it. You know. But how many things in this life are easier said than done? I guess anything that's worth it, right?
Yeah.
Anything that's worth it.
Well, I guess what it comes down to is nothing worthwhile in life comes very easy, I guess.
Yeah, maybe that's where I ask about that struggle question.
Anything worthwhile in life, you have to work hard for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it's, going through emotional pain, whether it's physical work, whether it's,
Well, then that's the story of your life, and that's where we'll end this. But talk to me about that song, "Story of My Life."
I think that was also just reflective of just, life goes by so fast and you just want to do what's right and, try to leave the world a better place than when you found it.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that as I get older, I think I should know what's right quicker. But there's sometimes when I still feel like I'm a 14-year-old kid in my bedroom trying to figure out what's the right thing to do here.
Sure. Yeah.
Pisses me
off. But that's
off.
okay, though. It's okay. Yeah.
Well, I'll take it from you that it's okay, but it still pisses me off sometimes.
It pisses me off big time.
Well, and
it's very frustrating. Yeah.
Because I did grow up with my dad all the way through until he just died a few years ago, and in parents, right? But I always thought when I was a kid looking at him, I thought, well, he's got it all figured out. He's all set. I mean, so when I get to be that age, I will be a man too, and I won't have any more questions for God. Turns out
he didn't have it all together,
and it turns out nor do I.
Yeah,
nor do you.
And that's okay. If we had it all together, we wouldn't have anything to strive for.
Yeah, man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this time.
Thank you.
It's very nice.
No problem.
Have a good life from here forward.
You too.
All right.
Thanks, man.